Hello and welcome, everyone. The show is My Strategy. I am your host, John M. Hawkins, and we're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We're very happy to be here with you today and glad you could join us. My Strategy episodes are live on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. Today, we're going to be talking about the perfect mindset. In this episode, I'm going to explore mindsets, why they matter, the different types of mindsets, the dangers of a fixed mindset, and ways to develop your mindset. Well, again, happy to be here with you today. Saturday for me is a great day to reflect. It's a day I choose to reflect on my strategy, and I hope you choose a day of the week to do it as well. But keep in mind, any day is a great day to assess your strategy. Now, the My Strategy radio show is growing. We're available on iHeart, iTunes, Player FM, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and many more digital platforms. So in case you'd like to hear a replay of this episode or find other episodes, you can find them there. You can find me on most social media platforms. The main ones are Hawkins John for Twitter. So Twitter is Hawkins John, or you can go to my website at johnmhawkins.com. And just like anything in life, we need to have a strategy and a plan to help us reach our goals, because the best laid plans don't always work. Now, this week, I'm looking for stories on mindsets or your attitudes. Do you have any good examples of mindsets or attitudes? Perhaps a tip or a trick? If you do, send it to johnmhawkins.com. That's talk@johnmhawkins.com. talk@johnmhawkins.com. Or if you'd like to be on the show, you can send us an email and give us your thoughts as well. Now, weekly, we do have a giveaway. However, over the past few months, we've been doing a monthly giveaway. So this month in December, we're doing a Pay It Forward giveaway. And so in addition to being able to win a $100 Visa gift card, we also are giving away a $100 donation in your name, in your honor, to Toys for Tots, which is a wonderful charity that provides toys for much needed children across the United States. And it's just a great way to pay it forward for them. So please go to my Twitter account at HawkinsJohn or johnmhawkins.com. It'll give you instructions on how you can enter. Very simple to do, and we'll go from there. So today we're talking about the perfect mindset. We're going to talk a little bit about mindsets, what they are and why they matter. They can help us spot opportunities. They can also trap us, though, in self-defeating cycles. When we become preoccupied with theirs, we're going to talk about why the mindset matters for success. Actually, it's very important for our success. And how do we go about forming a mindset? And is it possible to change our mindset if it's not in the proper optimum state? Talk a little bit about the dangers of a fixed mindset. Mindsets really incorporate everything about us. We're going to talk a little bit about what that means. But really talking more about how a fixed mindset can limit our growth. I'm going to then talk about 15 different types of mindsets. Now, these kind of shy away from the original definition of what a mindset is from my perspective, or at least as I understand it. But it's interesting, this author has some ideas on different mindset hierarchies and different mindset archetypes, which is pretty interesting, because it gives us the ability to think about what sort of mindset we want to have with respect to things like, the lazy mindset, the social mindset, a growth mindset, etc., to give you some more context there. And then we're going to talk about developing your mindset strategy, figuring out how we're going to go about doing that. So, which is what the show is all about, right? We need to have strategies. So mindsets. I've got an article here by Gary Klein, PhD. And he's got an article here called Mindsets, What Are They and Why They Matter? He says, a mindset is a belief that orients the way we handle situations. The way I interpret that is it's our attitude and our beliefs. The way we sort out what's going on and what we should do. Our mindset helps us spot opportunities, but they can also trap us in self-defeating cycles. He says this essay isn't about all the beliefs we might hold. It's about the beliefs that make a difference in our lives, the beliefs that distinguish people who are successful at what they do versus those who continually struggle. I want you to think about this as we go through this show, because I think this resonates with me quite a bit. It's about the beliefs that make a difference in our lives. You can have lots and lots of different beliefs, but there's certain core beliefs that you come back to time and time again. And that is what distinguishes those successful people from those who are not, in the humble opinion of Gary Klein. He says the Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck in 2006 popularized the idea of mindsets by contrasting different beliefs about where our abilities come from. If we have a fixed mindset and think about our ability is innate, then a failure can be unsettling because it makes us doubt how good we are. In contrast, if we have a growth mindset, then we can expect that we can improve our ability, and a failure, therefore, show us what we need to work on. So you're going to hear this concept over and over again with regard to a fixed versus a growth mindset. And we're going to compare and contrast a little bit and hopefully get you to appreciate the difference. He says people with a fixed mindset are out to prove themselves and may get defensive when someone suggests they made a mistake. In other words, they measure themselves by their failures. People with a growth mindset, on the other hand, often show perseverance and resilience when they've committed errors because they're more motivated to work harder. You can imagine how much having a fixed or growth mindset can affect our lives. He goes on to say that his investigation of the nature of insight turned up a major difference between people and organizations who concentrate on ways to reduce errors. Others who, in addition to worrying about errors, are also excited about the chances to make discoveries. The preoccupation with errors, the belief that the only way to improve performance is by reducing errors, seems to fit the fixed mindset paradigm. And in the interest in discoveries, that belief that performance improvements depend both on cutting errors and making insights map onto the growth mindset. So this is interesting. Many times when we're focusing on practice makes perfect or things along those lines, we really focus diligently on reduction of errors. But I think, as we think about this concept here of the mindset, we can see how having that fixed mindset could limit us. It can help us, but can also limit us. So we need to be aware of that. He says here that a few years ago, his wife Helen studied police officers, soldiers, and Marines who had shown outstanding skills in dealing with civilians, and they wanted to see what set them apart from their colleagues who typically intimidated civilians in order to get them to comply. They discovered that these good strangers, as they were called, shared one trait. So one trait differentiated these good strangers. And they all had a mindset that their colleagues didn't. Sure, they worried about their safety and that of their buddies. Sure, they wanted to achieve the mission and to follow the rules. But in addition, the good strangers sought out to gain the trust of civilians. One police officer explained to us that every encounter with civilians, even when he was arresting a lawbreaker, he tried to conduct himself so that the civilian trusted him more at the end of the encounter than the beginning. He believed that being a professional meant doing his job in a way that fostered trust. Think back to your encounters with police, and I suspect some of these encounters did not increase your trust in the officer. So you can see here as a real-world example how having this good stranger mindset helped with those police officers. You're listening to My Strategy. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. When we come back, we're going to talk about mindsets and why they matter. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. The show is My Strategy. It's on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Today we're talking about the perfect mindset. Talking about the mindset, why it matters, the types of mindsets, the dangers of fixed mindsets, and ways to develop your own mindset. Right before the break, we were talking about mindsets and what they are. In this segment, I want to talk a little bit more about mindsets and why mindsets matter for success. Got an article here by Kendra Cherry. It's called Why Mindsets Matter for Your Success. What you believe about yourself impacts your success or failure. This is according to psychologist Carol Dweck. We heard about Carol in the prior segment as well. She says your beliefs play a pivotal role in what you want and whether you achieve it. And Dweck has found that your mindset that plays a significant role in determining achievement and success. So she talks about what exactly is this mindset. As earlier we talked about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. She says people with a fixed mindset believe that these qualities are inborn, fixed, and unchangeable. Those with a growth mindset, on the other hand, believe that these abilities can be developed and strengthened by way of commitment and hard work. So I want you to noodle on that throughout the show. Think about that. What type of a mindset do you have? Do you have a fixed mindset, or do you have a growth mindset? Now we're all trying to, in this segment, figure out how we can get to that growth mindset. But many times, we do have a fixed mindset, and it's important for us to understand what this whole mindset's about, identify it, and then we can fix it. Because if we can fix it, it gives us the opportunity to grow. She says here there's two main types of mindsets. She says Dweck began her research on this topic by tackling the question, what happens if you give kids a difficult problem to solve? Some kids viewed the problem as a challenge and a learning experience, while other children felt it was impossible to solve and that their intelligence was being held up for scrutiny and judgment. The kids in the first group had a growth mindset. When faced with something difficult, they believed they could learn and develop the skills they needed to solve it. The second group of kids had a fixed mindset. They believed there was nothing they could do to tackle the problem that was out of the reach of their knowledge and their ability. I don't know, as I read this, I'm thinking about, kids and the mindset. And I can see situations where there were certain problems that I would jump in and try and solve, but there's others where I didn't feel that I had enough knowledge. So that just gives me some more insight into mindsets. And maybe this is kind of a fluctuating state, our mindset. But I digress. Back to the article, it says why mindset matters. Your mindset plays a critical role in how you cope with life's challenges. In school, a growth mindset can contribute to greater achievement and increased effort when facing a problem, such as trying to find a new job. People with growth mindsets show greater resilience. They're more likely to persevere in the face of setbacks, while those with fixed mindsets are more likely to give up. Fixed mindsets, Dweck explains, tend to create a need for approval. I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves in the classroom, in their careers, and in their relationships. Dweck explains in her book Mindset, every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality, or character. Every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? Growth mindsets, on the other hand, result in hunger for learning, a desire to work hard and discover new things, to tackle challenges and grow as a person. When people with a growth mindset try and fail, they tend not to view it as a failure or a disappointment. Instead, it is a learning experience that can lead to growth and change. I think that's hard to do. We go through life, through school, trying things, always being graded on absolutely everything we do. Everything we do is graded when we're in school. No matter what it is, your attendance, every class you're in, there's some sort of measure. You are graded on everything. And I'm thinking about this now and how constant grading, constant performance might lead to that fixed mindset. And so as I think about this, it might be just that it's innate in our upbringing to have that fixed mindset. And maybe that's why not as many people have a growth mindset. I'm thinking out loud here. But as we go through the show, let's start to think about this. So how does a mindset form? Dweck suggests that many people are trained in the two types of mindsets early in life, often through the way we are raised or their experiences in school. Well, that correlates to what I was thinking. Fixed mindsets. Children who are taught that they should look smart instead of loving learning tend to develop a fixed mindset. They become more concerned with how they are being judged, and they might fear not living up to expectations. Rather than seeking mistakes as setbacks, they're willing to try new things and make errors, all in the name of learning and achieving their potential. Dweck notes that having a growth mindset doesn't involve believing that anyone can become anything they want. Not everyone can become Einstein or Mozart just because they try. Instead, the growth mindset is about living up to one's possible potential. This potential, however, is never really knowable. Who knows how far a person can go if they set their mind to it? People with a growth mindset believe that the effort that goes into learning and deepening into one's understanding and talents is well worth all the toil and trouble. I think that's important. The growth mindset's about living up to your potential. She goes on to give us some different mindsets. She says, do you have a fixed or a growth mindset? I'm going to read 6 statements here and think about them and think, are they growth or fixed? People have a certain amount of intelligence, and there isn't a way to change it. No matter who you are, there isn't much you can do to improve your basic abilities and personality. Well, those 2 definitely are fixed. People are capable of changing who they are. That would be growth. You can learn new things and improve your intelligence. Growth. People have particular talents, or they don't. You just can't acquire talents like music, writing, art, or athletics. Fixed. Studying, work hard, and practicing new skills are ways to develop new talents and abilities. That's the growth mindset. So as you think about the mindset and think about what it is that she's saying here, I think it's important for us to realize that, while these mindsets may be set in our youth and as we grow up and are fostered and shaped through our environment over time, there are ways for us to hopefully change them. I mean, that's one of the beauties of personal development and starting to think about growth and going forward in life. It's being able to change those things. You're listening to My Strategy. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins, coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. When we come back, we're going to talk about the dangers of a fixed mindset. We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back, everyone. I'm John M. Hawkins. The show is My Strategy, and we're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We're very happy to be here with you today, and I'm really glad that you could join us. Today we're talking about the perfect mindset. In this episode, we're exploring mindsets, why they matter, the types of mindsets, dangers of fixed mindsets, and ways to explore your mindset. I'd love to get your thoughts. You can send an email to talk@johnmhawkins.com. And just a quick reminder that we also are giving away a $200 prize package for the month of December. A $100 cash Visa gift card, $100 Visa gift card, and then $100 to a charity in your honor. It is the Toys for Tots, and they basically do a great job of distributing toys to needy children throughout the United States. So that is available. Go to my Twitter handle @HawkinsJohn. There's a pinned tweet there. Tells you how to enter. Basically, you just follow some social media, and then, or you can go to johnmhawkins.com, and all the details are there. Right before the break, we were talking about why a mindset matters for success, and hopefully I've convinced you the importance of a mindset and what it's all about. In this segment, I want to talk a little bit about the dangers of a fixed mindset. I've got an article here by Sylvia Woodlard. She says, and it is called The Dangers of a Fixed Mindset, coincidentally enough. She says there's a well-established reason why people tend to be extremely successful in life, while others can barely make ends meet when dealing with negative emotions along the way. There's a good reason as to why some people can cultivate and maintain healthy habits, while others struggle with addictions. So what is the reason? She says it's mindset. She does caveat it by saying, obviously, mental health and addictions are complex, with a variety of causes, mindset being one of them. So, as always, if you do feel you're in a situation where you need professional help, please reach out to a professional to help with that specific situation. But we're going to apply this to personal development and, our own personal growth. So, the mind is an incredible thing. It incorporates everything: thoughts, emotions, ideas, beliefs, attitudes, and desires, motivations, and basically everyday aspects of our lives. Our behavior, actions are influenced by our mind. So everything we must start with a thought, which will then be transposed into the physical reality. That's Sylvia Woodlard. She says our beliefs are influenced by our external environments, our thoughts, emotions, actions, and are the subject of our current beliefs. Therefore, stating that the success of a person, personally and professionally, can be altered once the mindset of the person suffers modifications. Who can change your mindset? She says. She answers it, only you. Some would argue that parents, teachers, and authority figures have the most important role, but that is only if you allow them. Your version of yourself is entirely different from the versions of others. Not even your best friend, wife, husband, mother, father can actually know the real you. Of course, most of us don't know ourselves, and that is the major issue that needs to be immediately solved. And how can we do that? So she's saying that, she goes on to say, there are infinite types of mindsets that we can easily distinguish between two big categories, fixed and growth. And you're going to find that Dweck identified the two. Later, I'm going to talk about 15 mindsets. So, whether or not it's 2 or 15, we'll answer that question by the end of the show. I think what's happening is people are expanding on the mindset concept. She says, what is a fixed mindset? And we've talked about this a little bit before. I'll recap some of this. She says that the fixed mindset builds certain degrees of knowledge due to various reasons. Then, instead of consistently improving them, the person seeks to build validation from others. And a person with a fixed mindset can easily cultivate doubt, confusion, and procrastination habits because failures make them vulnerable. She goes on to talk about the growth mindset, but I think we've covered that adequately. So right now I want to talk a little bit about how you are affected by the fixed mindset. This is according to Sylvia. It is important to note that you're not falling into only one category. Every person's mindset varies because there's no possibility for a mindset to be entirely fixed. And I like this point here because as I was going through the earlier articles and thinking about the mindset, there are certain problem statements that come up that I have the mindset of, I can solve this, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to do it. But then there's other problems that come up where I might be more reserved and have that fixed mindset. So I think there's there's definitely some evidence to support this. Well, let's continue. Every experience, even the most significant ones, produce changes in our mentality. So acknowledging the first aspect is the key to improving self-awareness. And I like acknowledging. We use awareness, but you're right. We need to acknowledge, becoming aware. In certain situations, we approach a fixed mindset, encountering the challenges we fear, anger, procrastination, and so on. Everything we think, feel, and do will provoke an effect. Cause and effect. What are the things we do and how does it impact us? She says your thoughts cause emotions to happen, while emotions often encourage actions to be made. Obviously, the actions will trigger effects in our physical reality. So it's a cycle that goes on and on. The better we master it, the better the results we create in our lives. I like this. Your thoughts cause emotions. Emotions encourage the actions. And the actions will trigger effects in our physical reality. Well, that seems pretty straightforward. She says, now let's take a quick peek at some of the disadvantages that come with a fixed mindset. If ultimately provokes dissatisfaction, disappointment, melancholy, sadness, and a broad range of negative feelings. Even if by avoiding something now you avoid short-term pain, your long-term condition may be quite the opposite. It decreases self-knowledge and self-awareness. You cannot get to know yourself better, or you can't, and you're not constantly seeking to grow. Think about it. No pain, no gain. It cuts off opportunities. A fixed mindset is usually afraid to take risks that would potentially damage their comfort zone. It encourages mediocrity, and mediocrity leads to a poor quality of life. It attracts mediocre relationships that will hardly bring long-term satisfaction. And it leads to stagnation, and as life is marked by growth and progress, I could state that a fixed mindset leads to a low level of life. She then talks about how we can shift, but I think it's important for us to really think about this and our fixed mindset and how, really for us, she says, we need to improve ourselves by improving our mindset. And whenever you're struggling with progress, be aware there's a problem with your mindset. And as you understand more, there is no such thing as fixed. Everything's changing, everything is shifting, and everything will become slightly different as time passes by. So that's the negative effects of a fixed mindset. I think some of the things she says here make a lot of sense. Many of the things she does makes a lot of sense. And some of this is common sense, but it's helpful to have somebody like Sylvia and Carol Dweck to take a look at their research and see exactly how that can impact us. And then, what sorts of tips can we learn from it? Are we somebody who has a fixed mindset, or are we somebody who is growth mindset focused? You're listening to My Strategy. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins, coming to you live from the BVM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. When we come back, we're going to talk about the types of mindsets. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm John M. Hawkins. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. The show is called My Strategy. Well, I'm very happy to be here with you today. Glad you can join us. If you're just joining us, My Strategy shows are 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Today we're talking about the perfect mindset, exploring mindsets, why they matter, the types of mindsets, the dangers of fixed mindsets, and ways to develop your mindset. I do want to let you know about a great little giveaway we've got going on for the month of December. It's a $200 value. $100 Visa gift card goes to you, and then we do a donation in your name to Toys for Tots, which is a great, great charity run by the Marines, and they provide toys for needy children. So that is this month's. You can enter by going to my Twitter handle at Hawkins John. Very simple to enter. There's 4 or 5 different social media platforms you can follow, and that's how you get entered. Or you can go to my website at johnmhawkins.com. So check it out. And I would always encourage you, during this time of the year to think about who we can pay it forward to. There's a lot of benefit of paying it forward. And we're talking about mindsets, and I think having that type of a mindset's a good thing to have anyway. So right before the break, we were talking about the dangers of a fixed mindset. We've really talked about 2 different types so far. We've talked about, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And I've got an article here by, Dan Weston. Really expanded the definition here of mindsets and what we can have. So, he's got another one here called the lazy mindset. Lazy mindset is, gives you the ability to achieve happiness in short term. But he says you're unlikely to process the discipline to achieve big things. He says your health is at risk. Your time is often wasted. Do you have a lazy mindset? He talks about the envy mindset, someone who's envious or jealous of other people. That's something that can hurt us when we are thinking about other people and we're jealous and we're not really focusing on what we need to be focusing on. That can impact us. And he says the advantage is it can be a motivating factor in pushing you towards action. But the disadvantage of the envy mindset is you will become obsessed with what other people are doing. And you will waste time over other people easily. So do you have an envy mindset? He goes on to talk then about the business mindset and the advantages of it. He says, you love to provide a service to people and help change the world, whilst also be working for yourself and making your own path. He says the advantage of the business mindset is you possess qualities needed to help others. You're able to solve problems quickly, and you can achieve financial freedom and independence. He says you might be focused too much on money and not on passion. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being an entrepreneur and being responsible for others. Another mindset he talks about is the advantages of a dreamer mindset. You possess the ability to think big. You know what you want from your future. You realize just how much you can achieve from your life. Dreaming is only good if you take action on those dreams. Do you possess a dreamer mindset? Another mindset he suggests is a follower mindset. A follower has advantages. There's less risk being a follower. You feel safe. You have a defined path. But the disadvantage is you will only be going after what others want, not necessarily what you want. You might never truly achieve happiness, and you'll potentially only ever do or achieve things that 90% of others also achieve. Do you have the follower mindset? The greed mindset. This is an interesting one. I haven't really thought about it from this perspective. But there is, a mindset of greed. It motivates you towards becoming a successful and wealthy individual, and that's all you focus on. Disadvantages of the mindset. Your greed may be the death of you. You'll always want more and never fully satisfied. You're not focused on helping others. One of the prime purpose in life. He says, do you have a greed mindset? What about the gratitude mindset? And we did a podcast on this a couple of weeks ago, talking about gratitude and paying it forward. You appreciate the things you have a lot more. It keeps you humble no matter how much success you achieve in life. There's no real disadvantages to being grateful. Now, keeping in mind, if you do have a focus or you're driven to being gratitude all the time, that could limit you in some way. But also, there's a lot of upside and benefits. The next one, he says, is the confident mindset. Confidence is the key to actions and happiness. When you combine confidence with a few other states of mind on this list, you can become unstoppable. You're happier with yourself and the way you are. You're more likely to take action on your goals. It's easier for you in social situations. It's easier. And then the disadvantage is overconfidence could lead to arrogance. How would it be if you could go in and be confident in everything you do? What about the creative mindset? He talks about the creative mindset, the short-term mindset. So this is an interesting take where the author, Dan, has gone through and looked at various mindsets and done a little bit different take on them. You're listening to My Strategy. I am your host, John M. Hawkins, coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. When we come back, we're going to talk about developing your mindset. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins, coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. The show is My Strategy. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here today with us. My Strategy shows are 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Today we're talking about the perfect mindset, exploring mindsets, why they matter, the types of mindsets, the dangers of a fixed mindset, and ways to develop your mindset. Right before the break, we were talking about 15 different types of mindsets. An author had talked about, these different types of fixed mindsets that we could potentially use in various situations. We went through a social mindset, growth mindset, fear mindset, lazy mindset, and more. And that is an addendum to what we were talking about earlier with regard to the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, so growth versus fixed. In this segment, I want to talk a little bit about developing your mindset. And from our perspective, when we talk about development and personal development, we have a 5-step process. It's, the awareness, assess and analyze, strategize and plan, implement your plan, and support and evaluate. So it's a 5-step process. We talk about our vision, our goals, what we want to achieve, and that's going to help us figure out from a mindset perspective, where are we? Well, to figure that out, we need to assess and analyze. We need to look at our situation, do some analysis, take in data, do some calculations, figure out what's working, what's not. Then we start to strategize and plan and define those courses of actions. We can start to determine which ones we need to use to get to our specific goal. We implement them. We have to implement those actions, test them, and then support and evaluate them. So in this segment, I want to talk a little bit about 5 ways to develop a winning mindset. Article is by Rahul Van Cruz. And this is, do you want to upgrade your mindset like winners? Well, you can do it easily and achieve everything you want in life. But the problem is most people fail to develop a winning mindset. Most people fail because they take advice or seek approval from unsuccessful people. In other words, people who gave up on their dreams. You need to surround yourself with winners and stay away from losers. That's good advice. Otherwise, you'll end up listening to those people. People with successful mindsets will always feed you with successful thoughts. That's like-minded people. That's what I have in the margins here that I wrote. So you need to choose your association carefully and start taking advice from credible people who are actually winners. And I think this is good. As we start to think about these mindsets and with everything in life, you want to associate with those who are most like you. And from that perspective, when you're around them, they're going to influence you. You're going to influence them, and it's going to help you. So as you think about mindsets, and not only evaluate our own mindset, but evaluate those that we spend lots of time with. In other words, take advice from people who are already successful in the area where you want to be successful. The information you're going to read is taken from most successful people on this planet, according to the author, on the planet. Pretty powerful statement. He says, number 1, focus on winning, not winners. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So you need to focus on winning. Otherwise, you'll end up being a loser. Most people lose because they spend too much time watching other people. However, successful people focus on themselves and their goals in life. Winners focus on winning because they're obsessed with the outcome. They want to win badly as compared to other people. I think that's good advice. Focus on winning, what you're trying to do, not those who are in the race with you or the winners. You can see what they've done to achieve success, but really focus on winning. Number 2 is be willing to do whatever it takes. Winners are not the only ones to try and quit when it doesn't work, because the real winners are people who try something and keep going until they succeed. People with a winning mindset never quit and never make excuses. If they are going through challenges, they'll do whatever it takes to reach their goals. So if you want to develop a winning mindset and succeed in life, you must be willing to do whatever it takes. Otherwise, you're going to end up making excuses. When you are willing to do what it takes, you can achieve anything you want in life. Number 3 is have patience. You cannot find a single person on this planet who became an overnight success, because success doesn't happen overnight. Success comes to those who have patience. You need to have patience in life because not everything will work out instantly. Things take time to work out. People with a winning mindset always outwork those people who don't have patience in life. As it is said, the man who masters patience masters everything else. Believe in your dreams. If you want to become a winner in life, you must believe in your dreams before you can bring it to reality. People with a winning mindset believe they can achieve their dream. It takes courage to believe, and once you start believing in your dreams, no one can stop you from achieving it. Successful people believe while other people are doubting. As it is said, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Feed your mind with positive and successful thoughts. This is number 5, by the way. Your mind is a garden, and if you want roses and sow only sunflower seeds, you'll get sunflowers, not roses. Just the same, when you feed your mind with negative and unsuccessful thoughts, you won't get positive and successful results. When you feed your mind with positive and winning thoughts, you actually develop a winning mindset. Successful people use affirmations and auto-suggestions to feed their mind with successful thoughts. It says mindset is everything, and once you have a winning mindset, you will be able to achieve anything you want in life. All you need to do is practice every single step as mentioned above, and make sure you practice. Make the commitment to do it. Do whatever you want, but make sure you never ever forget to feed your mind with success. He says the most important things to remember: focus on winning, not winners. And I like this one, because how many times do you look at all those who have achieved something that you've wanted to achieve, and it's easy to become focused on them. But in reality, we really need to focus on how we accomplish those goals, not really them. If you follow in their footsteps, you'll go to the same destination, right? Be willing to do whatever it takes. Getting ahead is hard work, and it means that you're going to have to invest the time. It means that you're going to have to be resilient, and you're going to have to come up with different courses of actions and different strategies. Patience. Patience is hard, I know. Sticking to something, especially when you don't feel like it's going to get you where you want to go. Maybe adjust your strategy, but have patience with the process, not with the tactic. Believe in your dreams and feed your mind with positive thoughts and success. Believe in your dreams. I think that's important. We all have a goal in life, or goals. Sometimes it becomes hard to keep that dream alive, especially when we're not making much progress towards it. And that's where belief comes in. It's not where you think you can do something, but you have to truly believe that you can do it. And when you believe something is possible, it's going to give you that much more ability to go after and accomplish it and achieve that. So good advice here with regard to better ways to develop a winning mindset. The author is Rahul Von Cruz, and it's the best ways to develop a winning mindset. You're listening to My Strategy. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins, coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. When we come back, we're going to help you put your plan in place. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, John M. Hawkins. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Well, this week we're talking about mindsets And if you've missed this broadcast, you can listen on iHeartRadio and Apple iTunes. If you'd like to have something covered in the show, send an email to talk@johnmhawkins.com. That's talk@johnmhawkins.com, or you can give us a call at 844-MY-STRATEGY. Also keep in mind that we do have our monthly giveaway. The month of December is Pay It Forward. And so it's a $200 prize value. It's a $100 Visa gift card to you, and then a $100 donation to Toys for Tots in your honor. So that's how we are paying it forward with this month's giveaway. So today we're talking about mindsets. We're talking about what they are and why they matter. We talked a little bit about being able to spot opportunities and how being in the wrong mindset can trap us in self-defeating cycles. That happens when we have a fixed mindset and we are really preoccupied with errors and not growing from those errors. And I think it's very common for us to get into that sort of mindset. Easy to do. As kids, we're grown, through school. That can impact us. Our parents, our teachers, our bosses, our friends, everybody in our life can help us get into a pattern where we get into that fixed mindset. The key is to recognize it, I think, and really start to think about, how can I grow from this as opposed to being stuck in that mindset. Now, why do mindsets matter for success? Well, mindsets are important because they are going to give us the skills and the attitude, the ability, the emotional strength to deal with and solve problems. And that's really what life is all about. It's taking problems and owning them and solving them. And when you go in it with the right mindset, the right attitude, that's going to set you up for a better chance of being able to solve that problem as opposed to going in it with a negative attitude, a improper mindset. And so we always want to think about this from the growth mindset perspective. How can we go in this and benefit from our situation as opposed to being a fixed mindset where failure is imminent? Nobody wants to fail, but there is a certain amount of failure that we have to have to help us grow. Then we talked a little bit about the mindsets and the dangers of the fixed mindset. Mindset really incorporates everything in our lives, our thoughts, emotions, ideas, beliefs, attitudes. And this whole mindset concept is something that, goes beyond just our attitude. We talked about how our emotions can have an impact on our thoughts, have an impact on our emotions, which have an impact on our actions. And those actions have real-world implications. So as we think about this fixed mindset and those negative thoughts, can really drive us into a cycle and can really keep us from achieving our goals. So it's important to stay away from those fixed mindsets. And then we talked a little bit more about some of the different types of mindsets. And, one of the authors talked about, social mindset, growth mindset, fear mindset, lazy mindset, and came up with 15 other types. And I think it's interesting to think about it from that perspective. If there were different, classifications or categories of mindsets, what would those be? And that might be, what these are. It's, you're focused on social, you're focused on growth, you're focused on, lazy, and then identifying that and being able to shape it. And then finally, we need to develop our mindset. And, people with successful mindsets always feed you with successful thoughts, and they're going to encourage you to develop your mindset. And hopefully, in doing so, you can help them. But keep in mind that breaking of habits is hard, and one needs to be aware of those patterns before we can break them. And it takes a conscious prioritization and commitment to our goals. Well, that's all the show we have for today. You've been listening to My Strategy. I am your host, John M. Hawkins, coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.